If you are still standing today, you passed the test. Since July, you have been forged in the slow fire of waiting. You felt the pressure against the wall. You saw doors close and the silence grow. It seemed like punishment, but it wasn't. It was the forge. The pressure didn't come to destroy you, it came to solidify you. Today, November 27th, the Lord of Time wakes up. Saturn stations direct. The 5-month review cycle is over. The handbrake has been released. What happens now is the fundamental shift in the physics of your life. Resistance leaves and traction enters. That effort you made that generated nothing, now it moves mountains. The authority you were forced to build in silence, now it becomes visible. This is not a day of luck. It is a day of payment. The universe is ready to deliver the concrete to those who proved they have the structure to build. Playtime is over. The architect has returned to the site. If you survived the winter of the soul and are ready to raise the walls of your future, anchor your foundation now. To understand the monumental power of what is happening today, you first need to validate the frustration you carried over the last 5 months. Since July, you lived under a strange and cruel physical law. It seemed that no matter how hard you tried, reality did not respond in the same proportion. You pushed with full force, and the object moved millimeters. You screamed, and the sound did not propagate. You planted, and the seed lay dormant in the soil. Many of you thought the problem was you. You thought, I lost my touch. I am blocked. My luck has run out. It wasn't you. It was time. Saturn retrograde is like trying to run inside a pool with chest-high water. The effort is immense. The exhaustion is real, but the displacement is minimal. The function of this period was not to take you far, it was to make you strong. The water's resistance forced your muscles to grow, even if you didn't move from the spot. Today, November 27th, the water has been drained. You are on solid ground. The first thing you will feel is the return of traction. Traction is the ability to convert energy into movement. It is when the car tire grips the asphalt and the engine finally pushes the vehicle forward. The difference between yesterday and today is the difference between pushing a wall and pushing a door. In recent months, you were pushing a concrete wall. You sweated, cried, planned different strategies, changed the angle of your shoulder, and the wall remained there, immovable. This generated deep psychological exhaustion, the feeling of learned helplessness. Today, the Lord of Time turned the key. That same structure, which yesterday was an insurmountable wall, today reveals itself to be a heavy iron door. Is it still heavy? Yes. Saturn is never light. Will you still need to use strength? Yes. Saturn gives no free gifts. But the physics has changed. Now, when you push, it opens. You will notice this in the immediate practice of your day. That email you sent 5 times and was ignored. Today, it is answered. That project that got stuck in bureaucracy in, let's see, in someone's drawer. Today, the stamp hits and the paper moves. That difficult conversation you tried to have that spun in circles, today it reaches a conclusion. It might be a yes or a no, but it is a conclusion. It is solid. This change of state demands an urgent mental recalibration from you. The danger now is no longer the external blockage. It is your internal hesitation. After 5 months of hitting the wall, your brain learned to expect the pain of impact. You developed the fear of acting, because acting meant getting hurt without result. You are conditioned to expect paralysis. Today, you need to break that conditioning. You need to have the courage to push again with the same strength, but with a new expectation. If you hesitate now, you waste the traction. Imagine an archer who trained by pulling an inflexible steel cable. He got strong. Now, a real bow is placed in his hand. If he pulls with the strength he acquired, the arrow will cross the horizon. But if he pulls with fear that the string will lock up, the arrow falls at his feet. Reality has become responsive again. Saturn Direct brings back the law of linear cause and effect. Effort A generates result B, planting generates harvest. Brick laid is wall raised. It seems obvious, but for those who lived in the retrograde limbo, this is a miracle. It is the return of sanity. You will feel a weight lift from your chest, not because life became easy, but because it became logical again. You regain control over the mechanics of your own ascent. Where before there was swamp, now there is concrete. Concrete is hard, cold, and grey, but it has a quality the swamp does not. It sustains the weight of your ambition. You can build a skyscraper on concrete. In the swamp, you could only build a hut that sank. Look at the projects you abandoned because they weren't moving. They weren't dead, they were on hold. The green light has turned on, traction has returned. The ground is firm. The question now is not, will it work if I do it? The question is, do you have the courage to do it now that you know it will work? Stop pushing the memory of the wall. Push the door. It is unlocked. Now that the pressure has been relieved and the dust has begun to settle, the Lord of Time asks you to look around. Look at the landscape of your life. What do you see? Likely, you see some rubble. You see plans that crumbled. You see empty chairs where people you swore would be there forever once sat. You see versions of yourself that no longer exist. The ego's first reaction is grief. It is looking at what fell and calling it loss. It is looking at the void and calling it failure. But today, with Saturn Direct, you receive the glasses of truth. What you are seeing is not a ruin, it is a clean foundation. The function of the last 5 months was not to rob you, it was to audit you. Saturn is the zodiac's structural engineer. When he goes retrograde, he goes down to the basement and starts hitting the supporting columns of your life with a sledgehammer. He tests the integrity of each pillar. If the pillar was made of plaster, illusion, it breaks. If the pillar was made of rotten wood, dead habit, it yields. If the pillar was made of stone, truth, it holds. Everything that fell in your life since July fell because it didn't have the structure to sustain the weight of what is to come. That relationship that ended, it wouldn't have withstood your next phase of growth. It would have collapsed down the road when the cost would be much higher. Saturn did you the favor of knocking it down now. That project that never got off the ground, it had a flaw in the base. If it had gone up, it would have fallen on your head. That belief about who you are that dissolved, it was a mask, not a face. Stop crying over the broken plaster. The plaster wasn't you. Today's miracle is not in what left, it is in what remains. Look at what is still standing. Look at the idea that even after 5 months of silence and difficulty, still pulses in your chest. You tried to kill it, tried to forget it, but it is there. That is diamond. That is true calling. Look at the few people who stayed by your side when you had nothing to offer but your tired presence. They weren't there for the show. They were there for the soul. That is loyalty. That is a blood covenant. Look at the strength you discovered in yourself when you thought you were going to break. That cold resilience that made you get out of bed on the darkest days, that is bone. That is character. What survived Saturn retrograde is unbreakable. It passed the test of fire, water, and time. It is no longer a bet, it is a guarantee. It is on this bare, hard rock that you will build your empire. Many people are afraid to discover that their life was smaller than they imagined. They prefer the illusion of a big house of cards to the reality of a stone hut. But you are a chosen one. You know houses of cards don't withstand storms. Today, the sky gives you permission to feel proud of your solid smallness. Maybe you have fewer friends today than you had in June. Great. The quality of your table has gone up. Maybe you have fewer projects. Great. Your focus has become a laser. Maybe you have fewer illusions about yourself. Perfect. Now you are dangerous because you can no longer be fooled. Unbreakable truth is the only building material Saturn accepts. If you try to build your future using the broken bricks of the past, construction will be halted. Leave the rubble on the ground. Let the wind take the dust. Give thanks for what was removed. The empty space that remains is not absence. It is prepared ground. You have been reduced to your essence, and essence is indestructible. From today on, you no longer build based on I think or I hope. You build based on I know. You know who stays. You know what holds. You know who you are in the dark. This certainty is the foundation of your legacy. The rest was just scenery, and the scenery was dismantled so the real play could begin. Step firmly on the ground that remains. It is yours, and it will not yield. There is a fundamental difference between a gift and a salary. A gift is given by grace, luck, or affection. You don't need to deserve a gift. You just need to be there to receive it. A gift is light. It is joyful, but it does not confer authority. A salary is different. A salary is the fair, energetic exchange for work performed. It carries the weight of your effort, your hours, your competence. When you receive a salary, you don't just feel joy. You feel dignity. Saturn does not give gifts. He pays salaries. Today, with the Lord of Time returning to direct motion, we enter the phase of the adult's reward. Many of you spent the last few months feeling invisible. You worked in the dark. You maintained ethics when no one was looking. You held the structure when everyone around was freaking out or giving up. And it seemed the universe wasn't watching. It seemed the reward would never come. What you didn't know is that Saturn withholds payment, not to deny it, but to accumulate it. He was testing your maturity. If he had given you success in August, you might have wasted it. If he had given you the position in September, you might not have been ready for the weight of the crown. Now you are ready, and the check has cleared. Saturn's reward has a specific texture. It doesn't come as magic luck falling from the sky. That's Jupiter. It comes as solid recognition. You will feel this in your career and your long-term projects. That project, stuck in bureaucracy, suddenly gets the final stamp. The promotion or level change that was promised and forgotten is now official. The client who was looking decides to close the long contract. But the most important thing is not the money or the paper, it is status. Saturn rules hierarchy and authority. Today's reward is that you go up in rank. You will notice people start treating you differently. Where before there was doubt or condescension, now there is respect. Your word has gained weight. When you speak, the room listens. Not because you are shouting, but because you carry the aura of someone who survived winter. You stopped being the enthusiastic amateur and became the respected professional. This is what it means to be an adult in the cosmic sense. The child wants the candy now. The adult knows how to plant the tree and wait for the fruit. You waited. You watered dry earth for 5 months. Now the harvest is yours by right of conquest. This reward also brings a feeling of unshakable security. Luck is volatile. It comes and goes. What Saturn builds is structural. The position you assume now cannot be easily taken from you because it is founded on your real competence. If you receive a big opportunity today or in the coming days, do not doubt it. Do not fall for imposter syndrome. The imposter is the one who gets there by a shortcut. You got there by the long road. You know every mile of that path. You deserve to be there. Look at the areas of your life where you acted with responsibility, even when you were tired. That is where the gold will appear. It could be in the form of a relationship that leaves the let's see phase and becomes a serious commitment. Saturn loves commitment. He blesses rings, contracts, and long-term promises. It could be in the form of financial stability that finally settles in after months of chaos. It could be in the form of health that steadies because you respected the treatment. The adult's reward is not exciting like a roller coaster. It is satisfying like owning a home. It gives you ground. Receive this moment with the sobriety of a king or queen. Do not go jumping and screaming. Just settle. Breathe deeply. Feel the weight of conquest on your shoulders. It is a good weight. It is the weight of your own life, finally sustained by your own hands. The master has graded the test. The score is perfect. The diploma is yours. Yesterday, under the influence of Venus and Jupiter, you experienced the glitch. Luck came easy. Doors opened with a breath. Friction disappeared. It was a cosmic gift. But today, Saturn hits the table and says, playtime is over. The fourth movement of this day is a vital warning. The end of shortcuts has arrived. The universe's tolerance for amateurism has just been revoked. While Saturn was retrograde, you could improvise. You could count on luck, leave loose ends, do things more or less, and somehow things would sort themselves out. There was an elastic margin of error. Today, with Saturn direct, that margin has disappeared. Physics has returned to normal. Gravity is on. If you drop the glass, it breaks. If you don't do the work, the result doesn't come. Many see this as bad news. Is the magic over? They ask. No, magic has changed shape. Saturn's magic is not the rabbit coming out of the hat. It is the house that doesn't fall in the storm. Today's warning is simple. Luck that doesn't become a system evaporates. Everything you gained yesterday, the unexpected money, the romantic reconciliation, the brilliant idea, now needs a home. If you leave these gifts exposed to the weather without a structure to protect them, Saturn will take them back. Did you make money? Great. What is the plan to invest it? If there is no plan, it disappears. Did you get back together? Great. What is the new agreement for living together? If there is no agreement, the fight comes back worse. Did you have the idea of the century? Great. Where is the execution schedule? If there is no schedule, it turns to smoke. Saturn demands that you professionalize your life. The amateur depends on inspiration. The professional depends on routine. The amateur looks for the hack, the trick, the shortest path. The professional knows the shortest path is doing it right the first time. From today on, Stop looking for the easy way out. The easy way out is a revolving door that will throw you back in the same place, only older and more tired. Look at the areas of your life where you are patching, where you are using masking tape to hold together a structure that should be made of steel. Saturn will point his finger exactly at that place. The car without maintenance will stop. The uncared-for tooth will ache. The unread contract will cause problems. This is not cruelty. It is physics. It is the law of cause and effect operating with maximum precision. The good news is that this same law guarantees your success. If you stop taking shortcuts and do the real work, study, train, organize, clean, the result is mathematical. There is no bad luck that can knock down someone who built on rock. Today, the invitation is to excellence. Do what has to be done and do it impeccably. Not because someone is looking, but because you refuse to build a disposable life. The shortcut takes you quickly to the cliff. The long road takes you safely to the top. Choose the road. You recovered traction. You identified what is unbreakable. You accepted the salary and cut the shortcuts. Now, something changes in your posture. Until yesterday, you operated in the student archetype. The student is the one who raises their hand and asks for permission. Can I go to the bathroom? Can I have this idea? Is this good, teacher? The student lives in search of external validation. He needs someone to stamp his passport, so he feels authorized to exist. Today, with Saturn direct, you graduate. You enter the master archetype. Visible authority is not about bossing others around. It is about governing yourself. You will perceive this change in the way you enter places. You stop scanning the room looking for approval. You stop smiling nervously to please. You enter, occupy your space, and establish yourself. Your voice changes. It goes down a tone. It loses the inflection of a question at the end of sentences. You stop saying, "I think it would be good," and start saying, "This is the way." This is not arrogance. Arrogance is the mask of insecurity. Authority is the emanation of competence. People around you will feel it. They will stop questioning you and start trusting you. Why? Because the world is desperate for leadership. The world is full of children in adult bodies, looking for someone who knows what they are doing. When you assume your visible authority, you become a pillar of security in the middle of chaos. You stop looking for the savior. You look at the problem and realize, no one is coming to solve this. It's me. And instead of panic, this brings you a cold calm. You know you can handle it. You survived the last 5 months of pressure. You can handle the weight of the crown. Do not be afraid to seem too serious. Seriousness is Saturn's language. It is the sign that you respect life enough not to treat it like a joke. Assume the post. Wear the rank. You no longer need to ask for permission to be who you have become. We have reached the final act. You understood the physics of traction, identified your unbreakable truth, accepted the payment, and assumed authority. The mindset is ready. Now, we need to bring this into matter. Saturn does not live in the world of ideas. He lives in the world of things. He lives in concrete, in signed paper, in cut stone. To close this portal and inaugurate your construction phase, you will not make a request to the universe. You will lay the cornerstone of your legacy. This is the foundation right. Think about how great buildings are constructed. Before going up, they go down. They dig deep and place the cornerstone, the first block that defines the alignment of the entire structure. If this stone is crooked, the building falls. If it is firm, the building spans centuries. Today, November 27th, you will place your stone. You will need a paper and a pen. Once again, digital won't do. Digital is light, fire, air. Paper is cellulose, earth. You need the physical resistance of the pen scratching the sheet. Sit in a quiet place. Place both feet on the ground. Feel gravity. Gravity is not a weight pulling you down. It is the force keeping you on earth. It is your ally. Breathe deep. Feeling the air fill the base of your spine. Now ask yourself, what is the one thing I am building that must last for the next 10 years? Do not think about next month. Saturn despises the short term. Think long, think legacy. Is it your career? Is it your family? Is it your work? Is it your health? Choose the central pillar. On the paper, you will write a declaration sentence. Do not use I want, I would like, or I will try. Use the verb in the present continuous of construction. Write, I am founding. Examples, I am founding my absolute financial freedom. I am founding a body that sustains my purpose. I am founding a family based on loyalty and truth. Write slowly. Put strength in your hand. Let the ink mark the paper. You are not just writing, you are engraving. When you finish the sentence, sign your name below. The signature is an act of legal and spiritual power. It is you saying, I take responsibility for this work. I am the engineer and the bricklayer. If it goes wrong, I fix it. If it goes right, it is mine. Now the physical act. Take this paper. Do not throw it away. Do not burn it. Saturn is conservation. Fold the paper and put it in a safe and fixed place. Inside an important book, at the back of a drawer you don't touch much, or under a heavy object on your desk. This paper is your cornerstone. It will stay there, quiet in the dark, energetically sustaining the structure you will raise starting tomorrow. Feel the sobriety of this moment. There are no fireworks. There is no crying. There is only the satisfying silence of a decision with no turning back. You have just exited survival mode and entered construction mode. The blueprint has been drawn. The stone has been laid. The land is yours. Now the real work, the good work, the work that pays, the work that stays, can finally begin. The test is over. The cornerstone has been laid. Now real life begins. Not the life of rehearsals and drafts, but the life of legacy. Saturn liberated you from waiting, not so you can rest, but so you can build. In the coming weeks, you will feel the physical difference in reality. The ground is firm. The wall became a door. Your authority is visible. Do not be afraid of the hard work ahead. Be afraid of a life too light that leaves no trace. You were forged in the slow fire of the last 5 months, exactly to withstand the weight of your own greatness. Assume the construction site. No one will build your castle for you. The time to ask for permission is over. The time to sign off on the work has begun. To seal this contract with time and notify reality that you have stopped playing, leave your final decree registered. Write in the comments, I build my legacy. The legacy begins now.